What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Inky coming at you with a popular request. After we uploaded our Kentucky ballistics video the other day, we had no end of requests of people wanting me to go back and for some reason watch a man blow himself. And by that, I mean Kentucky ballistics having his oopsie with his 50 cal. I don't know whether that says a lot about my inability to find content and comedy, or whether that shows more about the fact that you like watching a man vivisect himself with 50 cal explosives. So I guess we're going to find out where we land on that spectrum by watching the video now. So sit back and relax, and let's watch a man blow himself. So by popular demand, after we watched the last video about the 4-bore rifle, I had no end of people wanting me to watch this. Now, after the description of how he described this, I can only imagine this is going to be very interesting. So I'm not sure how to feel about the fact that you guys wanted to watch this so much. Like, there's some subjectivity here where you guys are encouraging me to watch a guy get blown up. I'm not sure whether that says something about your overexposure to live leak footage, or whether you actively want me to vomit. But hey, we're here now and we're committed. So show me, Mr. Kentucky, how it happened.
What's up, everybody? My name is Scott, and I'm going to tell you about how my 50 cal exploded.
Dude. Oh my God, wow.
And I almost bit the dust about 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks?
So I know a lot of you are probably wanting me to explain my injuries.
Oh my God, even after 2 weeks, he looks like he's been punched by a gorilla.
I'm going to do that, but I think it's best we start from the beginning. I know some of you are going to try to skip around in this video. I highly recommend you stay tuned and listen to all of this. But for those who are going to skip around, let me clear something up first. This was not the Barrett that we torture tested, and this was a complete freak accident. There's nothing that I did to have caused this.
Gee, it's almost like using machines that utilize highly compressed explosive mechanisms. Sometimes might be dangerous to be around, whether for it's the person on the other end of the barrel or for the person behind the barrel. Gee, the chance of your gun exploding on you might be catastrophically low. But it's never zero. And that is the chance you're willing to take every time you shoot a gun.
So April 9th, 2021, we come out here to shoot a fire hydrant with some slap rounds using my Serbu RN50. So we have the Serbu RN50 with the 36-inch...
Oh, dude, look at how much muscle mass he lost. Like, even just between this shot and the last one. Like, look at him here. Damn! 2 weeks and immense muscle atrophy. That's ridiculous.
Heavy barrel, and we're going to go ahead and go big or go home and start out with this. This is a 50 BMG slap tracer round. The slap rounds tend to go a little to the right.
You wouldn't know that thing was compromised. Like, I would be very interested to know what failed. Was it the bullet or was it the actual the barrel? Because, like, realistically, any gun can fail at any time for any number of reasons. But usually there's some... usually if a gun fails catastrophically, it's usually because there's a weakness in the machine. There's a weakness in the there's either a weakness or there's been some stress put on the barrel, or especially on like fully automatic guns. I don't know if you guys have ever seen what happens when you fire fully automatic weapons without stopping. Yeah, so this tends to be like any weapon can fail, right? Like you are putting explosives down at the chamber of a compressed barrel. And eventually, yeah, it's gonna be problematic with the gun, but usually that kind of stress test comes from something like this. Also, dudes everywhere will see this and go, hell yeah. Dude, look at that thing heat up. I'm honestly surprised they sat there with themselves on the gun and didn't have some mechanism to shoot it for them. Look at it, it's the actual muzzle. I think it's a suppressor? I'm guessing it's a suppressor. The suppressor's literally melting, and the barrel ain't far behind. I mean, you can see that, right? The barrel is already warping. Not by much, but I would not want to fire this gun after they were done testing it. Like, it's very minor, but even after that, the barrel's warped slightly. I would not... So, fun story. When I was in boot camp going into the RAF, we were sent to a shooting range to try out some L98s. And this was when I was getting my certification for being able to shoot. There was another team up there. This was in the middle of winter at the top of Dartmoor, and it was snowy as all hell. And I was being trained on the L98, and there was a team next to us being trained on the L98A1, the slightly more advanced version. The team next to us were doing drills for changing the mechanisms. And there was one demonstration being done in particular where they were putting excessive amounts of rounds down a barrel to show you the process of changing out the barrel on the fly. And I still remember this day. So they're firing off rounds, and they get to a point where they're changing out the barrel on the fly. So the sergeant pulls open the mechanism, and he slides out this interchangeable barrel, and he puts it down. They slide in the new barrel, and they keep going. After about another 20 minutes, the time to pack up comes around. And as they're trying to pack up this L98A1, they suddenly realize they're missing a barrel. And they sit there questioning to themselves, where's the barrel gone? The first barrel they had removed was so superheated, it had melted through the snow and through the composite underneath them into the substrate underneath the building. The barrel was also so warped, it looked like spaghetti. I only found out about this because they couldn't actually get it back until summer, until the snow had melted. So just a little bit thing. Guns are scary, and they can do weird things. And sometimes you never know when your gun's gonna go boom. Sometimes there's usually a telling sign. Sometimes they just go boom.
Aimed a little to the left, but this one actually hit true to where I was aiming. We hit right here. And you can see that thing is smoking. And then we blew right through the back of this thing. Everything was going pretty smooth. We shot the fire hydrant several times, but the slap rounds were acting a little funny. One of the slap rounds hit like 1.5 feet low and to the right. I say we hit it with one more slap round, but this time aim for the thickest part of the fire hydrant and see what happens.
Ooh, I am really curious, because sometimes a gun can fail because the bullet wasn't seated properly. Like, whoever loaded the bullet could have potentially either overloaded it with too much gunpowder, or maybe they didn't seat the slug properly in the jacket. I'd be interested to know where the point of failure in this was. You missed! Flash's competitive. Ooh, wait a minute. Oh, you know what? Okay, so the barrel's the thing that failed. That, to me, says that the round was being held by the barrel far too much.
The gun was functioning normally, as it always has. I've been using this gun for a long time now, and I've never had any issues out of it. So before all this happened, we took one last shot, and it was actually really, really cool. The round was stuck out the back of the fire hydrant. This is a 50 BMG silver red tip armor piercing incendiary tracer. So we went through the top of the fire hydrant. Look
oh, wow. Okay, that's wild.
Gosh. It's just stuck out the back. After that,
I mean, hey, I guess it goes to show that those fire hydrants are durable as all hell.
I decided I was going to take
just
one
tanks
last
a 50
shot
cal
with
to
the
the
slap
face
round and try to hit the thickest spot on the fire hydrant. So before I loaded my last slap round, I know that there was no barrel obstruction because I literally found the round in the fire hydrant. But this last round that I loaded into my Serbu RN50 was a very, very hot round, and I had no idea. And there's
This is kind of why getting ammo produced by a certain company is usually the better way to go. Because usually these companies have certain standards they have to abide by. And most manufacturers of ammunition, every X amount of bullets, they then have to test a batch to make sure they're fine. If you're getting your ammunition hand-loaded by Jimmy McJones out of his backyard shed, yeah, the only standards he has to abide by is how many beers he had beforehand.
There's really no way for me to have ever known that this round was as hot as it was. So here you can see me taking the last shell casing out, and now I'm loading in the slap round.
God, it's that anticipation, because you know shit's about to get fucked. Oh, God, if only he knew. Like, moments before disaster kind of thing. But there's no way you could know. There's no way you could know. Like watching a train wreck is just about to happen.
And the gun closes completely, and everything is functioning.
It doesn't look like anything's wrong. So it must have been the ammunition, surely.
Is normal. And one thing, is something someone may mention, is maybe I didn't screw the cap on all the way. Well, you can clearly see the cap is screwed on all the way, and this gun actually will not close if the cap is not screwed on all the way. So everything was functioning good on the gun. What
hot ammunition means it's either overloaded with too much gunpowder, or it was dodgily loaded, or the seating of the slug was too off. Like, so the way ammunition is loaded, I was about to get open MS Paint. The way you load 50 cal bullets, or rather, the way you load bullets in general is you have this press. And the way most bullets are done are kind of like this. Some people have like way more fancy machinery for how they make their bullets. But on a fundamental level, my dad used to load his own ammunition. Here we go. Actually, yeah. Grand ping. So this is generally how you do it. This helps clean the jacket, helps strip it of any remaining carbon, helps prepare it to be loaded again. Most jackets are designed to be reused. So you put it into this machine, it gets a new blasting cap, and then you just put in the amount of gunpowder required. And most ammunition comes with a measuring capability. And generally speaking, you can always tell the amount of gunpowder just because of the size of the jacket. But there's always that little bit of wiggle room where even a little bit too much gunpowder can just make a massive difference. It's a chemical reaction. It's physics. It is pure physics. So you know how in like the last video, I pointed out how their 50 cal bullet looked like it had a lot of carbonization at the top? You can always tell when a bullet's been reused because the top here will be blackened from having been fired before. And it'll get blacker and blacker the more you've been reloading it. And you know what, you can, my dad, I remember, my dad had a 308 that we fired weekly. And there was a set of ammunition that we had that we ended up reusing for probably about a year solid with continuous use. There does come a point where you throw away the jackets, but you want to make the most use out of them. And they are very easy to tell when the ammo is, when the jacket is, like, at its life's end, as it were. So yeah, somewhere in the process of loading that 50 cal bullet, somebody probably put in a bit too much gunpowder, or another likely problem was they put in bad gunpowder. Because not all gunpowder is made equal, and if the gunpowder was made flawed, or it was made in a weird process, or whatever reason, the different types of gunpowder can also make a difference.
I didn't know was the slap round that I put inside it was extra hot, and I had no idea. And there's really no way for me to have ever known. These rounds are extremely rare, and they're very old. They're like $100 a piece. These aren't manufactured. Like,
you can put more gunpowder in bullets, but most bullets are designed to be used with a certain amount of gunpowder. The higher, here's the problem. The higher caliber bullet you use, the more problematic making that bullet hot happens. Because some people do purposely overcharge their ammo to get more effectivity out of it. But that generally only works with smaller calibers because the point of failure is much less and the amount of overpressure you're working with is much more manageable. On higher caliber ammunition, like a 50 cal, the amount of overpressure you're dealing with in such a contained space doesn't pertain well to being good for you if it ends up going wrong.
Manufactured anymore, and really there's no way you can really know what's happened to them over time as they've passed.
Oh, and another one, old ammunition. Old ammunition is also another one that can go awry. Usually old ammunition is more like it fizzles out, but sometimes old ammunition can act very weirdly as well, mostly because of the corrosion to the jacket. It's why if you ever find old grenades or old ammunition, or, you know, every year people are digging up mines and bombs from World War II in England. And even though they are pretty much 100 years old at this point, you don't want to disturb them because of how much they've corroded. It could be that just even a slight nudge could activate their primer.
Hand to hand. I was under the impression that these were genuine military surplus rounds and hadn't been tampered with. So now I'm gonna actually show you what happened. It's not graphic. All the graphic stuff happened after the fact, and I'm gonna tell you all about that, but I am gonna show you what happened just so you can see what happened to me that day.
Jesus fuck, dude. Thank God he was wearing glasses. He probably would have lost his... Dude, the pistol grip just got sheared off entirely.
So when I pulled the trigger...
The fact that he's alive. Good God.
The gun exploded almost immediately. So the first thing that went was this cap. And this cap is solid steel.
It has to have been a dodgy bullet. That looked like so much overpressure being... Like, it makes me think, because when he fired that other round and it was such a big flare to it, I almost feel like that was this... Like, each of these bullets was just measured so weirdly different to each of them. And this one was just the one that kind of broke the camel's back, as it were.
And it is very, very heavy. If you look right here, the threads are sheared off of the...
Oh God, yeah, no, that's too much. That is like dodgy bullet, absolutely dodgy build. I don't think this is his gun. I think this is just a very badly made bullet that had way too much gunpowder. And what ended up happening was, I can almost imagine. I think in my head, I see it sort of happening like this. So if this was the barrel, and this is where the bullet was chambered, in my head, what I kind of see happening is that the bullet traveled down and sort of, it must have got caught or something really early because of too much pressure. And then because it gets caught here, all of that extra power that should have projected this bullet out the other way gets sent backwards. Like, getting the blasting cap knocked off like that means that so much force must have come back the other way. That's scary. Oh my God.
This gun completely. I spoke with Mark Serbu, and he said that normal pressures are 55,000 PSI. And for those threads to have sheared off and this cap to have just blown off like that, we're looking at over 85,000 PSI.
Jesus.
So the cap blows off. It's kind of hard to put these on because of my little nose brace. I'll explain. But safety glasses are on. And this cap, you can see this little crescent here.
Oh, he is so lucky he wore his glasses. I don't care how small of a caliber you're using with your guns, always wear eye protection. And ear protection.
This cap hit me right there. I'm not really sure which way, probably more like this. but it struck me in the face. When this cap hit me in the face, it broke my orbital bone in 3 spots, here, here, and here. It also broke my nose, and that's why I have this on. I've had to have facial surgery to repair all this. Here's the really bad part though. On this lower, normally, there's
Something
these
kind
2
of funny
ears
about him using his broken hand
stick
to hold it.
right here. And this is what prevents you from closing the gun when the cap's not on all the way. If the cap is on all the way, it will fit perfectly right here with those ears pushed up against it. When the cap blew off the gun, it came straight back, shearing those ears off the lower.
Jeez.
One of these is still at the hospital, and this is the one we found. This one zipped right past my head, went inside my hat, blew a hole through it, and took it off my head, what appears 7 to 8 feet. Now the other one is what?
I have never seen a man so lucky to be alive in my life. And yet, if it hadn't have been for his actions, he would have been dead.
Almost ended me. The other ear hit me right here in the throat. It proceeded to lacerate my jugular vein and then punctured a hole in my right lung. As for my hand, my best guess is this is what did it. In the video, you can see that the stock almost disappears instantly. I believe it came in a downward motion and hit my finger. You have your natural bend in your index finger. Well, this bone right here looked like a V. So my finger looked like a big W.
Okay, I'm not normally squeamish about that description.
So back to the lacerated jugular. I've now been hit in the throat, and I'm not really sure what happened because when this cap hit me in the face, I went blind in my right eye instantly. I have vision coming back now, and they say my eyes should make a full recovery. But in that moment, I went completely blind, thrown off the table. So much pressure came out the back of this upper that it launched it off the table. It's an insane amount of energy that was thrown into my body. So now we're driving very fast into town. I am applying constant pressure to my throat.
Yeah, so the way he survived is he stuck his thumb in the neck wound to plug the hole that was made, lacerating his jugular. He made a t-shirt after this titled "Stick Your Thumb in It."
I'm breathing very slowly, trying to control my heart rate because the faster your heart rate, the faster you're going to bleed. My dad's driving, so I thought it would be nice of me to call the ambulance. My dad didn't agree with this, but I wanted to do it myself because I wanted to try and stay awake. I needed to be doing something to keep myself conscious. If you have an iPhone, there's this nifty little feature on the side here, and if you hit that button one too many times, it'll call 911.
Oh.
This can be kind of annoying when you're trying to shut off your alarm in the morning, but when there's a lot of bodily fluids on your phone and you can't open it, it comes in really handy. I got on the phone with 911 and I let them know what had happened and that we were coming into town.
Dude, imagine trying to explain that to someone. Hi, yeah, I need an ambulance. Okay, what for? My 50 cal exploded on me. Your what? Yeah, so there I was shooting my gun and my 50 cal exploded. Do you need an ambulance? Well, my jugular's torn, my thumb's fallen off, and my hat's kind of broken, but, you know, otherwise that, I'm great.
And they were gonna send an ambulance to meet us halfway. There were several times where I thought I was gonna pass out. And I knew if I passed out that was gonna be it because my dad's driving. If I pass out, who's gonna keep applying pressure to my neck to keep me from bleeding out? Times like this, you really need something to focus on, and I focused on my kids. I had their faces in my brain, and I just focused on them, and I fought as hard as I could.
Same, Lemmy. Absolutely same.
I stayed conscious.
Like, I am not a squeamish person. I've been on LiveLeak and 4chan enough to be desensitized to everything, but anything to do with the neck area makes me squirm.
Entire time.
Also when somebody bites it, but hey.
We met the ambulance halfway. They got me
not the good kind of
up.
squirm, you know what I mean?
We took off towards the hospital. And like I said, I know that I was in a bad spot. And I don't know if you know this, but if your jugular is completely severed, you have 30 seconds. I knew that being hit in the throat, I may not have much time, but the closer we got to the hospital, the more my confidence built, and I thought, hey, maybe I'm gonna be all right. When I was in the ambulance, I asked them to cut my shirt off because I was having trouble breathing, and I thought maybe I'd been hit in the chest as well. They cut my shirt off. There wasn't anything there, but when I got to the hospital, they x-rayed me, and they said my right lung had collapsed because it had filled with blood, and that was from this little guy here puncturing my lung as well. So from there, they had to intubate me.
Hi, Trico.
While I was wide awake, and I tell you, that is not fun. Take this long metal rod with...
See, for those who may have come in recently, I have a history of guns. I am one of the very few British people that has had the delight of shooting rifles, automatic rifles, that kind of stuff, because I was going into the military originally. And you know, when you're being taught how to fire rifles, when you're being taught how the safety of everything works, they put the fear of God in you by telling you these horror stories about people who mishandled guns and how sometimes when bad things happen. I've told the story before, but there was a when I was in the cadets specifically, we were doing a NITEX in the local woods near me, which is used quite commonly for military training. And we were doing our thing, which had nothing to do with guns, but there was the military cadets there as well who were doing not live fire, but they were using blanks for their guns. There was a kid in that group who hadn't quite understood that even a blank is still a kinetic force that it will be potentially deadly. The guy had at some point thought that it would be a funny flex to put the gun in his mouth and fire the blank. The guy did not die. However, he did blow out all of the flesh of his throat and could never speak again. And that was one of the horror stories they would tell us as to why you treat your guns with respect. And distinctively, I still remember to this day the training I was getting on the L98 where I kept forgetting about the safety. And you think they're being kind of harsh on you when you're sat there with your gun and you forget the process of checking the safety switch every time. Because every time I would forget the safety switch, my sergeant would kick me in the ankle. After a while, I wouldn't forget about the safety.
The point on it, and they stick it through your rib cage, and it wasn't fun. After that, I was feeling a little better. I could breathe a little better. And then they wanted me to take my thumb out of my neck, and I was like, we're not taking my thumb out of my neck. You just wrap it up with some tape and stay there. But they told me I had to take my thumb out of my neck. So they had a bunch of gauze.
You know, if this was any other situation, I would I made the fingering joke in the last video. It takes a special kind of bashfulness and a special kind of bravery to be able to stick your entire thumb in your neck cavity, or any kind of wound for that matter. It is grody and it's horrifying, but you know, your body is your body, and better to stick your thumb in your neckacy than die, I guess.
And packing, and as soon as I pulled it out, they packed my throat. When I pulled my thumb out, that's when I saw my finger, and they said that I audibly said, oh, that's not good, because my finger looked like a big W. They informed me after that they were gonna have to life flight me to Vanderbilt Hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. Very, very good hospital with very, very good doctors. Obviously, I'm here making this video. Big shout out to Vanderbilt Hospital. You guys are the best.
I normally have way more. I normally try to make more commentary about stuff like this, but
I realized that this may be the
last
time
you get to see a man who basically
see my dad, because once they knock you out, you know, that's it. Either they're gonna fix you or you're not waking up. My wife had arrived. I called her in there. I held her hand, and we had words. And then I called my dad in to pray. And after that, I remember waking up in Vanderbilt Hospital, hooked up to every machine possible.
There must be a guardian angel looking over this guy, because holy smokes, dude, if that was anyone else, you know, legitimately, The guy's physique probably played a really big role in his survival. The dude is built. He has so much muscle on his body. I guarantee you a big reason he survived is because his muscle padded him a lot.
I'm gonna throw
That is
some
the face
pictures
of
in
I
here.
lived.
So they did a number on me. So you can see this cut here, and this actually
Oh.
goes all the way down to right here. To repair my jugular and my lung, they had to open up my chest completely. They cut me completely open, just like open heart surgery. They told me a guy my size should hold 6 to 8 units of blood, and total, from all the blood I lost from the initial injury and the surgeries, they had to give me 5 units. There was also
Jesus!
there was also a chance that I could have had a stroke. To repair your jugular vein, they have to pinch it off. Well, your jugular vein supplies the oxygenated blood to your brain. So they can only pinch it off.
Shuki, you are not wrong, dude. It's not exactly disgrace. Like, you will always be reminded of that time that you won against fucking the constitutional right to bear arms. It's not often that somebody picks a fight with gunpowder and comes out on top.
So long. They pinch it off, they repair it, then after that, when they open it back up, all that blood rushes into your brain, and there's a chance you could have a stroke. Praise God, I did not have a stroke as well. As for my hand and my face, they had to do surgery on that as well. I have pins in my finger to hold it in place. And like I said, they had to repair my orbital bone in 3 spots. As you can see, they cut me here and right here. And they also cut inside my mouth, all the way back here to the front to be able to get to all
You know,
of
if anything as well, it may go understated, but holy tits, modern medicine is like witchcraft. If like, I know there's nothing comparable in ye olde days, but if you suffered a catastrophic wound like this prior to the 1980s or 70s, you're dead. This is just straight up death. They would have seen you and go, oh, well, put him in the morgue. Oh, modern medicine, as farcical and as corrupt as it can be sometimes, is truly a wonder.
those spots. So I had a breathing tube
And
in,
they
but I
did
still
do
wanted to talk.
surgery
I
on a
wanted to know
grape, so, you know.
what had happened to me and what was going to happen. Well, my nurse, Cody, shout out to that guy, best nurse ever, brought me a dry erase board so that I could write and ask questions. I wanted to talk to my wife. Well, he would call her for me, and then I would write out what I wanted to say, and he would say it over the phone for me, and then I could sit there and talk to my wife. Also, I really wanted a mellow yellow. I was craving it so bad.
This sounds so inappropriate to say, but Battlestate Games, the people who made Escape from Tarkov, saw this gun malfunctioning and got ideas for a malfunction animation for their game. Oh, Zuka Bliat. So when gun not good durability, explode like Kentucky ballistics.
When I was finally unhooked from everything, I remember sitting in my room, and he peeked his head in. He was like, "Can you eat and drink now?" And I said, "Yeah." And he handed me a mellow yellow. Coolest nurse ever. So for about 2 days, I had tubes coming out of the front of my chest, one tube coming out of my right side, and one tube coming out from
I'm
behind
not
my
usually a squeamish
collarbone
person, but
to
sheesh.
drain everything around my lungs. And I had to carry this little vacuum pack with me. They removed those really quick. I'm healing extremely.
I think there's a little bit of a sad story here, that there was the opportunity for him to become the first Adeptus Mechanicus. They sewed him back up and made him a good flesh sack again, but there was the opportunity to replace all of his broken components with mechanisms and turn him into the first Omnissiah worshipper. Reject the flesh. The flesh is weak. If he had been an Adeptus Mechanicus priest, he would have not even scratched an eyelid at that 50 cal exploding in his face. Just saying.
Extremely fast. They kicked me out of trauma within a few days. This happened on April 9th, which is a Friday. I went home the following Saturday.
He does not look like somebody who had a 50 cal explode on him 4 days ago. Like, the dude just looks like he got beat up by some guy.
There is a lot more to this story when it comes to my injuries and
Dude,
everything
dude's
that I
got
had
a
to do
great
to
healing
overcome
factor.
them.
Are we sure this guy isn't
Long story short,
Wolverine?
I shouldn't be standing here. I should be 6 foot under, and if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. So I know there's one big question that you're all wondering. What's gonna happen to Kentucky Ballistics, and am I gonna keep making videos? And the answer to that is...
The answer to that was obviously yes.
Absolutely. I'm not gonna...
Only a pussy gets exploded by a 50 cal and then runs away from the thing that caused them to die. If you show fear to those 50 cals, they'll always rule it over you. You stare that 50 cal straight in the eyes and you say, I'm not afraid of you, you little shit.
Quit doing what I love because of a freak accident. There's nothing that can keep me from continuing on. I love what I do, and I appreciate every single one of you. I am healing at a Wolverine rate. I'm
glad I'm not the only person who made that observation. Cool.
healing so fast that really a lot of people have been kind of confused at how fast I'm healing.
It's not
That's
pre-watched.
God, he's healing me quick. And I'm gonna keep making videos, and I cannot wait to get back out here.
Yeah, he definitely, like, it's so weird to see, like, what was that video that we watched that conveniently came afterwards? Because I remember the entire reason we started watching this. You know what? Actually, I got an idea. So, we watched this one, right? So this was, what, 2 months? I think this was 2 months after the explosion.
I present to you.
So, dude, look at him there. Look at him here. Dude got built back up so fast. And yet, so 4 years ago, 2 years ago, and now the dude looks a little bit silly.
I'll see you later.
Jesus Christ, he only got bigger. And you can still see the scar in his arm. Look, you can still see the scar in his neck. He wears the scars well. But dude took it in his stride and legitimately came back stronger.
I'm off to karate.
Absolute unit, that man. Holy smokes.
I have some videos planned, and
dude
I
took
think
getting exploded as a challenge to prove his superiority.
Stuff. Also, I know there's going to be a good bit of you that want to support me while I'm healing, and I really, really appreciate that, but I don't want to do a GoFundMe or anything like that.
Man, are we sure this guy's a content creator? Because I'm pretty sure if he was a content creator, most content creators make a GoFundMe when they stub their toe. The fact he didn't make one after getting exploded by a 50 cal, I think this is all staged now.
If you want to help me out, I want you to get something out of it too. So we got some new shirts.
Yeah!
The doctors told me that if it wasn't for this thumb, that I would have died. This thumb saved my life. And my wife came up with this saying. She said, just put a thumb in it. And I thought that was the funniest thing ever. So that's what...
Making a cake and your wife says, stick your thumb in it and give it a taste. And you look up at her like... Did my 50 cal blowjob mean nothing to you?
We're going with. We have just put a thumb in it shirts. I think these are awesome. And if you want to support me, there's a link in the description down below. Cool. They're available now. Pick you up a shirt. So like I said, I'm healing really fast, and I'm going to be back to it as soon as possible. And I really... All
right, let's watch him shoot a gun.
My name is Scott. And you will most definitely see me next time.
Dude literally couldn't even go through a video without firing a gun. I suppose that's like more of a message to himself than anything else, right? Proving to himself that he's not out. Damn, what a trooper. All right, well, I don't really have much else to say beyond, wow, what an absolute shining example of the human indomitable spirit. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you like it. Please make sure you go check out Kentucky. Man went through hell and back and survived to tell the story. And now I'm going to go deal with something not quite as traumatic by dealing with my taxes. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.